Wait a second. So are you telling me you can actually fly the entire universe of Starfield with no fast travel? Whoa. So recent discovery has shaken what was previously known about the game. And something is definitely happening with Starfield just before the final launch on September 6th. We've got more evidence that yes, Bethesda is up to something, and we've got some new Starfield tips for you all, things you most likely did not know about the game's mechanics that will improve your time in the game by 7 times over. And Bethesda gets called out for this one feature that brings down the experience and should be addressed in my mind immediately. And we have to talk about this one in-game feature that also has divided the fan base. Should you really pursue this or not? And is it worth your time ultimately? And Starfield literally, I kid you not, saved this guy's life and his entire family from a fire. This is an intense story. We're going to get into it. But yeah, we're going to start out with what's happening with Starfield in the back end, what the dev team is currently up to. So yes, you guys know previously that I did report on this in my previous video, but I have a new update for you all right here on the Steam database. We have more evidence that things are going on here. So yeah, I told you guys that the dev tech got an update here 7 hours ago, but guess what also got an update only 22 hours ago? QA staging main, that's quality assurance, meaning that they are apparently testing perhaps a new patch, a new update, and things are intensifying on that end. And maybe we would be seeing again another new update ahead of the September 6th final launch. So look out for that. I'm assuming that's going to happen. And by the way, I want to mention, if you are new, smack that subscribe button so you don't miss another update. Yes, I do Starfield videos. And if you're already subscribed, turn on that bell notification as well, because you will be guaranteed to get my videos in your feed so you do not miss another update. But yeah, let's keep going, because yes, Starfield is looking to perhaps go against one of the biggest heavy hitters of this year. Right now, we're sitting at 209,000 concurrent players. That's about to go up, I'm sure. But look at this. Baldur's Gate is still having this insane staying power. Over 400,000 concurrent users. That game has been out for a minute now, and it's just absolutely impressive that a single-player RPG has been able to maintain such a presence. We'll see what Starfield does by September 6th and beyond. Very curious. Also, yeah, we have got to talk about this right here. The headline says Starfield doesn't require fast travel at all. Sort of. And yes, Starfield does let you fly directly to other planets. Apparently, there's an anticlimax to all of this, so let's talk about it. So yes, the source of all of this is Alana Pierce, who manually flew to Pluto. It took her 7 hours to get there. So that notion that space is a section of closed off arenas has been debunked. Also, the notion that you can't fly to any planets has also been debunked, as you could see the gameplay right here. And we have a small clip here showcasing her experience after 7 hours finally arriving to her destination, which was Pluto. But this alone stirred up its own controversy, because yes, we already got the reactions. Osmongold on the scene here. Starfield planets are flat textures, because once she flew to Pluto, she actually clipped right through the planet, flew right through it. And I think it would have been wiser for Bethesda not to have that be possible. They should have had it where, like, you would be prompted to actually land on the planet, perhaps, and have some sort of boundary around the planet at the very least. Of course, most of you probably would prefer it to be something like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen, where you can actually seamlessly land into the planet. But to clip right through it, I think that needs to be adjusted for sure. But once you're on planets, some really cool discoveries have been, I guess you would say, discovered. Check it out right here. Planets have multiple biomes, and let me go ahead and full screen this for you all, because this is really, really impressive. This is on one planet, by the way. As you can see right here, we have multiple various different environments. And I thought this was so cool that someone actually took the time out to discover this. So it also goes to show that there's a lot of variety on a single planet. It's wild to me that this one single planet had this many different types of landscapes, from desert to snow to jungle. It's super impressive. And honestly, again, I've said it before, modders will just take this to a whole other level and really, I think, flesh out these planets to be something incredible. And, you know, I have to say it would be very cool to have, I think, vehicles. I really want to see land vehicles in the future. I've mentioned it before, and I think it would make exploring so much better on these planets. I'm looking to the mods once again to make that happen. Now, we got to talk about something that happened, which is wild. This has 7,400 upvotes. It goes on to say this: Starfield saved me and my family's life. Look at this photo. Extremely dramatic right here. A fire going on. But let's go ahead and scroll down here and see exactly how Starfield saved this guy's life and his family's lives. So let's get into it. So check it out. It says, Starfield literally saved mine and my family's life on September 1st. I've waited for this game since the trademark rumors of 2015 through 2016. Don't remember when exactly. In anticipation, I pre-ordered the premium edition, waiting to play this game. On the night of August 31st, I decided to stay up and play as long as possible to experience this new universe. At 2:26 in the morning, while playing the game, I heard an explosion from my downstairs neighbor's apartment. I paused my game to see what was happening. When I opened the door, I saw flames rising up our stairwell to our apartment. My God, how dramatic. I immediately got my wife and cat, rushed us to safety with only minor burns. If I hadn't been up binging Starfield, I would have been asleep and we would have all died to smoke inhalation. I want to thank this game for saving my family and me from a horrible fate. Praise God, Howard. Wow, you know, I'm so glad they managed to get out, and I guess that's one of the advantages of staying up into the late hours of the night playing Starfield, is you're going to know what's going on around you. So yeah, you know, I myself, our family has been through a fire. I remember when my older brother Ricky, he went through his fire. Man, he got so very lucky. All that we cared about during that time, despite him losing everything, all of his possessions, was that he was still alive. All right, so yes, I also wanted to get into some tips and tricks that you probably did not know about. This is a really good one right here. Check it out. It goes on to say this: inventory tip, hit up a bench, rename your stuff with a 0 for free. Then it will appear at the top and you won't sell by accident. What a great tip to arrange your most valuable stuff in your inventory. Of course, they need some sort of lock feature to ensure that you don't accidentally sell or trade something. But yeah, we got to talk about this one right here. Check it out. It says you can actually cut these doors. They're not just set dressing. So let's full screen this and play the beautiful footage here. So if you use your cutter, you can cut these emergency doors. They can actually lead to some very cool stuff. So pay attention to this, and I think you guys might make some very cool discoveries from that tip. Also, check it out. It says here is how to remove stolen status from items easily. So you've got an item you've borrowed long term without permission, super powerful weapon you don't want the security confiscating from you because it doesn't have your name on it. Well, all you have to do is visit a local trade authority vendor, NPC, not kiosk. What you need to do is sell them the item, let's say a pistol, and once you have sold the item to the vendor, this is the important part: do not exit the trade menu. Instead, go across to the buy tab and scroll right to the bottom of the menu to buy back, and you will find your item with the stolen status removed for the same value you sold it for. I have cleared multiple vendors' inventories this way while keeping the worthwhile stuff, and it works on everything, even ammo or your favorite fuzzy plushie you stole from another captain's bed. Happy thieving, captains. Now, he did note this: contraband and stolen items are two different things. Don't confuse them and end up failing a cargo scan. So this is invaluable, and get to it and check it out. Also, we have a follow-up comment here. It says, I'm not too far into the game, but I overheard an NPC more or less accuse the trade authority of laundering stolen goods. So this actually tracks with the lore. Fantastic. I love it. I love how they have that sort of detail in the game. Very cool stuff there. Now, also, you can heal for free on your ship, by the way. Just sleep in your ship's bed for 1 hour and bam, you're full health. Took me longer than I'd like to admit to figure this out. Wasted so many med packs. So if you want to save some med packs, check out that feature. Do not neglect the bed, by the way, because it also gives you that bonus with experience. Next up, we also have this one right here. This is really cool. 35 hours without incident. So this was discovered. Check it out. Here's the workplace. Let's play the video right here. And it says 35 hours without incident. Nope, not anymore. So again, the level of detail here within the universe, I suppose you would say in this one, I was going to say world, is super impressive in Starfield. Next up, we also have whoever decided that NPCs should walk slower than you can run, but faster than you can walk, deserves to endure 8 hours of this every single day forever. And of course, yes, they highlight one of the missions right here. And I noticed this. I personally think that this needs to be fixed and patched immediately because it is so very annoying when they have this now. Again, Hogwarts Legacy had a feature where they would run right with you when you sped up. And I believe, does Red Dead Redemption 2 have that? I think so. So this needs to be addressed for sure. I'm surprised it made it into the game. Next up, we have this one. People are dishonestly misrepresenting why people are disappointed with the game. Oh, really? So it says, why is this fake or false dichotomy being pushed that Starfield could either have boring and tedious planet-to-planet traversal like Elite Dangerous or fast-traveling loading screens that completely trivializes travel and exploration? The problem that people have with the game is that you're literally not traveling anywhere. You're just teleporting to and from different instances that aren't connected to anything. And the fact you can avoid going to menus for traveling doesn't change that. It just saves you a couple of keystrokes and mouse clicks. People say that the game shouldn't be compared to No Man's Sky, Elite Dangerous, or Star Citizen. Okay, so what should it be compared to then? Skyrim? In Skyrim, there's an actual world that exists which you traverse to travel to destinations. This does not exist in Starfield. The cities aren't connected to anything. It's not about being No Man's Skyrim. It's a literal regression from their other games. Fans are being dishonest about people's legitimate gripes with the exploration and traveling. Again, let me know how you guys are feeling about this. And furthermore, it goes on to say this: traveling doesn't exist in the game because traveling implies a destination. Sure, you could traverse a randomly generated tile, but there's no destination to reach unless you consider the points of interest destinations. And the points of interest will eventually repeat themselves as you continue to generate tiles. You'll just eventually hit a border. Going from instance to instance is not traveling or exploration. Space itself and the planets does not exist in this game. The space that you're in when you exit a planet is only an instance, and in regards to the planets, only the instances for the cities and designated landing spots exist. For example, Jemison as a planet is an abstraction. You can teleport to the instance, that is New Atlantis, any of the designated landing spots, or you can generate a random tile based off of various parameters, but there's nothing connecting those locations together. More proof of this is that the cities themselves don't even have gates that you can exit out of. Correct me if I'm wrong. The only way to exit the cities is through your ship, which you're then teleported back to space. Locations on the planets aren't connected, meaning the planets aren't real entities in the game. The star systems themselves don't really exist, meaning that space in this game doesn't exist. That's the biggest issue with this game. If you're fine with the way the game functions, that's one thing, but it's dishonest to misrepresent people's gripes as LOL. People are upset that they have to spend a couple of seconds in a loading screen. This has 5,000 comments. Dear God, this stirred up quite the conversation, but this is what I wanted to highlight here. It says, when I walk out of the lodge on New Atlantis, the first thing I did was jump the fence and start exploring the planet. And we also have a reply. You don't even need to jump the fence. You could just waltz right out of the city into the surrounding wilderness. I didn't even realize I did it until I was like half a mile outside the city and wildlife started appearing. And same, I wanted to see what the out of bounds zone looked like for New Atlantis, but then I realized it's actually a part of the planet. Found a farming station, got ambushed by bounty hunters, had a firefight, then got chased off by some aliens. All I have to say to everyone is just take your time in this game and really explore. You know, this isn't a Skyrim. This is not a Fallout. This is Starfield. And it's not a space simulator. It is a Bethesda RPG. I guess you would say first and foremost. That's the way I think about it in my mind. with the space theme. And there are games, by the way, that aren't exactly seamless that are some of my absolute favorites. I look at, and I've mentioned this game before, Metro Exodus. It has like these hub spaces, feels very open-ended. But again, many people would say, hey, that is not open world. But in my mind, it has open world elements to that. Now, Starfield is on a whole other level than even Metro Exodus. They take it even further. But yeah, in some ways, there are these hub spaces that you do traverse to. And there's a lot of them. And there is this sense of freedom. But yeah, it's definitely been debunked, by the way, that space is just a, fake thing in Starfield. Alana Pierce showing that you can seamlessly travel to planets is definitely something, Also, we got to talk about this opinion right here as well. It goes on to say, how are people not enjoying this game? So this is like a counter argument to that previous post. 8,500 upvotes. Let me preface this by saying I'm a 40-year-old gamer who's been playing video games since the 80s, starting with the original Game Boy. I've never touched a Bethesda game before this one, as I'm super space nerd, and this game got me to purchase a Series X just to play it. Boy, do I feel justified with my purchase. This game is freaking amazing, and I'm still on Crete. Let me tell you guys, I landed and got out of my ship. First of all, this game is gorgeous. I look and saw the little blue waypoint marker and I'm supposed to follow, but then I look around again and see all these little black and white markers as well. I'm a very curious person and I like to be thorough, so I said, let me run over there and see what these places are about. I'm running, I'm exploring, I'm mining materials, I'm scanning flora and fauna, even fighting some little aggressive fauna and extracting the materials. The whole time I'm just happy little space cadet hopping around with what I thought was a barren planet. This is like describing me as well. And I will say this, the first time I went off the beaten path, I found some amazing rare weapons in a random mine. And I thought to myself immediately, whoa, this is actually worth going off the beaten path, it seems. That is very cool. That's telling me it is definitely worth exploring in this game. Next up, he says, so I'm now getting closer to the waypoint I'm running to, and all of a sudden I start hearing a faint sound of what sounds like little firecrackers in the distance. I'm wondering what this is because as I get closer, the sound gets louder. I come up on the site and I can now clearly tell there are gunshots going off, so I climb the ridge to get to the area, and lo and behold, it's one of those pirate dudes fighting a huge spider creature by himself with his two teammates dead. Oh my god, I stood there and watched this guy fight for what little life he had, and it was amazing. The fight lasted about 2 minutes, so I decided while they're doing that, I'll just sneak around a little and look for stuff. Man, that thing killed that guy and immediately beelined to me. I had my back turned, and all of a sudden my whole screen goes red. I turn around and boom, this thing is trying to eat me. I'm running around the whole site trying to get away from this thing while my robot tries to help me, but all I got is this mining gun, which is pretty good, mind you. It does nothing at all at distance. So I'm running in a circle, trying to get my little shots here and there on this thing because it's a level 10. I'm just level 1. 30 minutes go by and I'm sweating and my hands are all slippery. And then finally, this thing gets stuck under some stairs and I managed to kill it. I felt like I just beat an indie game. I was so relieved. Now, if that's done, I was free to explore the site, found some nice materials and an epic weapon from one of the pirates. I was ecstatic. After this, I said to myself, what the F else is on this planet? So I set out again and start making my way to the other little dots. Most of them were some wind farms and caves and whatnot until I stumbled onto the abandoned weapons facility. I was hyped. I said, oh man, I'm about to find some crazy crap in here. It said abandoned, so what could go wrong, right? Man, I spent 2 hours dying to 30 to 40 pirates and laser robots in here. Frustrating, yes, but so fun. Once I finally killed off everything and everyone, I searched every crack of that base and got some crazy good weapons and gear. After that, I finally decided to start the main quest, so I headed to the blue dot. This game is amazing. I truly do not understand the negativity towards this game. It's like the people who dislike it are the ones who expected to play this game like it was a job or real life. I've always said the hardest part of a game developer's job is to its own community, and some of these players are either delusional or just entitled. The demands and expectations I'm seeing on just this subreddit alone are disturbing. People don't want to play games to have fun anymore. They just want to point out all the flaws and mistakes. These people feel like devs owe them something personally, and that's sad because it limits their ability to play the game freely. Mad because you can't manually fly from one planet to another. Seriously, I can't wait to fast travel to where I'm going to see what's going on over there. Mad because you can't walk across the entire planet. Come on, man. Did you do that in No Man's Sky? I hate walking in video games. The only complaint I have so far is that we should get a little ATV rover or something. You know, it's interesting. Death Stranding. I have to mention Death Stranding. Some people hated that game. A lot of people did because it was known as a walking simulator. I personally love that game because I like different experiences. But yeah, you know, it is so interesting. These opinions are so subjective. Now, the only complaint I have so far is that we should get a little ATV. Okay, yeah, I agree with that. And he says, mad because NPCs look like a video game? Bro, who cares what they look like? You're not staring at them all day. Just get what you need and keep moving. Now, the game is fun, period. It's addicting. There's always something to do. There are no microtransactions, at least not yet. I don't think there will ever be, hopefully not. Now, the only legit complaint to me are the PC performance issues I see a lot, but that doesn't apply to me because he's on, of course, Xbox Series X. I'm sure Bethesda will address those soon. My point, boys and girls, enjoy the game or not. If you want to explore space, there's always No Man's Sky, and that game is fun too. Just stop blaming the devs. Some of you guys are just nuts. So yeah, some great points there. Let me know if you guys are on the same page with this guy or not, or if you think he's being way too harsh on people that have complaints about this not being like a proper space simulator. Again, I think that's what people were kind of expecting for some reason from this one and not really reading into. I think there were kind of like warnings from Bethesda saying, hey, you know what? Remember, just keep in mind, this is a Bethesda game and we're not going to have seamless traversal between you know, space and the planet. All right, so we've got to talk about the end game for Starfield. There is something that I think is going to be very divisive if it is not already, and that is definitely New Game Plus, because I myself have started New Game Plus, and oh boy. So yeah, no story spoilers here, but we got to talk about it right now. So Forbes said this: do not rush the main quest in Starfield. Of course, they're talking about to get just to the New Game Plus experience. And he says, all right, I feel like I need to make a specific post with a specific title to answer a Starfield question I've gotten roughly 1 million times at this point, thanks to a bunch of misguided reviewers and content creators. Many of them have said that because of the nature of New Game Plus in Starfield, you should rush the main quest and get there as soon as possible. No, do not do this. They are wrong. This is coming from someone who made it to New Game Plus 3, and during my review build, I actually reverted back to the main game after New Game Plus because I regretted the decision. I can see why now after actually going into New Game Plus. They said I covered this in my New Game Plus article yesterday. I'll throw that link in the description below, but I will make this as plain as I can in bullet point form. So it says you will essentially lose everything while you keep your level, skill points, and abilities. You lose all your quest progress, all your exploration progress, all of your completed quests, all of your unfinished quests, all of your ships, all of your bases, all of your weapons and armor and resources and credits. It is a massive loss, and this is where it is so divisive. Trust me, it is a huge decision. And honestly, when I think about New Game Plus, historically, it means, hey, you get to carry over all of your items, all your armor, and you know, weapons. And I kind of scratch my head. I kind of wish that was the case here, to be honest with you all. I wish they had kept a more traditional approach to New Game Plus, but I am going to try to experience it and see how I can form an opinion more in the long term, because right now I can't really form a definitive here. Now it says you will miss so much good quests if you rush the main quest alone and forego every faction and side quest. You are defeating one of the main purposes of New Game Plus. Most of the interesting decision points in the game do not come from the main quest. They're from faction and side quests, but if you rush past them, you won't even get to know what the opposite decision is, rendering a big part of New Game Plus pointless. Then you would have had to do New Game Plus 2 to even see that and lose everything twice. Great point right there, of course. So yeah, so many reasons just to stay in your main story arc. Also, I want to say this. New Game Plus is interesting for a game like Starfield because whenever I want to create what I would call a new game, I would want to create an entirely new character to experience the different background stories and traits. So yeah, I kind of scratched my head over New Game Plus sometimes, but yeah, let's keep going. So we have this one right here. This is not how to play a Bethesda RPG. Yes, this is partially Bethesda's fault for designing a system that has created this issue in the first place, as I believe it runs counter to their former core philosophy of explore everything, seek out secrets, go at your own pace. If you rush the main quest, you are simply going to have a worse time playing. I regretted nothing about going slow in my first playthrough, but 60 or so hours after that, despite some cool things, I do sort of regret leaving it all behind. Man, I'm having such a tough time leaving behind my stuff. I discovered some amazing legendaries. I have this awesome outfit that I'm like, holy crap. And now I'm just expected to like instantly leave that all behind. Same thing with your spaceship as well. So yeah, let's keep going. So it says, what you gain isn't that cool. I talked a bit about it this yesterday without going into spoilers. You get a couple of cool items, a couple new dialogue options, a tiny bit of power upgrading. I have even seen some of the crazy restarts at this point, which I can't go into. While some of it is neat, half of it can be experienced by looking it up on YouTube in a week or so. Because no, I fundamentally do not believe that for this cool stuff you gain, it is worth tossing out an entire playthrough and starting over. I think New Game Plus is there for the long term, like when you have experienced multiple character playthroughs with different background stories, different traits, then you can finally be like, okay, you know what? It's time to try this New Game Plus thing then. So the question is, when should you try New Game Plus then? This will be up to the individual players. I finally decided to New Game Plus after the review period was over and the game launched in early access. At that point, I had run out of quests on my to-do list and would need to specifically locate the rest. I had visited every star system at least once and was mostly farming random bandit bases. That was about 70 hours, so I figured, sure, I'll start over with the new stuff. After that, I did run an experiment about changes in future New Game Plus iterations, and while again I found some weird stuff, I now have decided to live in New Game Plus 2 forever, as I do not think it is fun to keep resetting the game, seeing what I've seen now. Essentially, at the time, you would have considered starting a new save file in a game like Fallout or Skyrim. That's when you should New Game Plus. Yeah. But again, like I go back to the fact that, yes, you're sitting there going, maybe it's time to New Game Plus. But even with New Game Plus, you can't go in and select your new family trait or your new background trait, I guess you would say, and then your different perks and stuff like that. So it's tough. It's a tough decision to New Game Plus it or not. It's going to be ultimately up to you guys. Curious to see your take on this one. But I'm more curious about starting up an entirely new character. That's how I roll. I mean, yeah. All right, so now it's time to get into your top comments. So let's do this. My most recent video was Starfield's strange new update and a very big warning. Todd Howard teases big features. Check that out if you missed it. Let's get into your comments here. So Cocaine77 says, I would like to keep seeing the landing animation after the first time landing at a location. Make it an option to turn it off if others don't like it. 100% agree on that one. They should have those sort of options to kind of speed up the process if that's what you want. Matt Frazier says, I had this encounter, but I did not board the ship. I took my time looting bodies that were outside the ship. And then when I turned around and went to board the ship and it suddenly took off right in front of me. So I can mostly confirm this. I just was late to board the ship. Yeah, so this was talking about, if you missed my previous video, the fact that you can actually get on a ship, fight and engage enemies while on the ship while it's landed on a planet, and then someone like a pirate can actually take control of the ship and fly into orbit while you're still battling. That's very cool. That has been confirmed to actually happen to people. Now, it says has a really cool encounter, or had a really cool encounter like this. I got onto the ship and it took off immediately, so I made my way to the bridge, opened the door, all the while hearing cool flying in hull sounds. It's really cool and intense part that I started hearing explosion as the crew all stood up to confront me, while in the back behind them through the ship front windows, I see space spinning around like we are spinning out of control, then shaking and more explosions before we all die. I think the ship was also assaulted in space or something. I did not have enough time to fight them less. Check. Damn, that sounds awesome. Now it says, what's cool is I appreciate both games, Starfield and Cyberpunk. I do appreciate the depth of Starfield so far, though this game seems like an endless game, especially when we consider mods. But it's cool your channel covers both games because both worlds are incredible to be in. Yeah, you know, I've seen an article recently go out about Cyberpunk versus Starfield. That, you know, Neon City is so much better than Night City, like this ridiculous claim. And my opinion is each game is different and unique, and that's okay. Just leave it there. One game doesn't have to necessarily be better than the other. Some have, you know, advantages and disadvantages, but they're their own experiences. I, you know, spoke about Death Stranding, how some people would call that a walking simulator. I myself consider a different type of game, different type of experience. If you really want to be chill and enjoy something like that, yeah, Death Stranding might be something for you. All right, so we have this one right here. My son just had this encounter, but this captain took off with him inside, and when they got into space, another ship exploded the ship he was trying to steal. Everyone died, but he was ecstatic. That sounds freaking awesome. Yeah, Starfield has these crazy epic experiences. But yeah, there it is. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love this game. I'm enjoying it. Again, can't wait to see what happens with improvements through modding and, of course, official updates. I will keep you guys in the know when it comes to those official updates. I do expect some sort of patch, it seems, to be releasing ahead of the September 6th final release. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.